mixed emotions.
I didn't know you was pushing the button.
This is why, yeah. Mm.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yeah. Good evening.
We'll edit this out.
Oh,
okay.
No, go ahead, leave it. It's all good.
Ooh, rough start, guys. So tonight we're gonna be talking about religion and racism, or kind of like how the church is still segregated and how that impacts interracial relationships. Because I feel like if you're not in an interracial relationship, you don't notice this as much.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So one of our, I guess, issues is finding a quote unquote diverse church where like we both feel welcome.
Absolutely.
Or comfortable. Yeah, and to where our kids can also feel that. So
well, let's back that up. The kids feel comfortable anywhere. They don't care.
Well, I don't know about the teenagers.
They don't mind.
They don't care.
Okay.
Well, then this is just
this is our bag, our stick. This is us. This is our problem.
This is us. And I want to start with saying, like, I don't feel uncomfortable going to an all-black church, but I do notice it. You know what I mean?
It bothers me from this. Like, it's really no different than the treatment that you get from going to all white church. Everybody still sits there and treats you like that, like you don't fit in. They stare at you. They give you. Let me not cuss on this episode. So we talking about church. They give you doo-doo face.
Sometimes
they give you the elevator eyes.
Sometimes, but I mean, you can tell those people. Yeah, I mean, you can tell those people, but not everyone's like that. And I feel like that's the same with white church. Like, not everyone.
You are absolutely correct.
Is like that, and I just gravitate towards the people that aren't.
If you get upset with me about what we talk about today, you probably one of them people. So I'm just saying. I mean, I'm telling my truth and only my truth to tell.
Right.
So
This is like our perspective. It doesn't have to be everybody's.
So don't call me up trying to cuss me out. If everybody knows me personally, I'm just gonna be like, click.
Okay. Well, because I am who I am, I did research on if this is actually like just me being crazy.
She got a novel over here, y'all.
It's totally possible. Okay, that's my like handwritten notes. This is like totally separate from that.
And her phone.
Yeah.
She's about to get deep into this.
Oh, guys. Okay, I've already talked about this before, but if you're like into Harry Potter, I am a Ravenclaw, and we do this. Like, it's exhausting. I feel like I have to be a perfectionist at everything. So I feel like I have to have all my ducks in a row.
She's gonna make me sit here a long time, and I got a huge crick in my neck. I'm done. My neck is killing me.
He had one of those old man injuries where you go to sleep and you wake up hurt. That's what happened.
Oh, that hurts my feelings a little bit.
I mean, it happens to me, so it's not like actually an age thing. Okay, but anyway, so I did do research, and I'm going to start it off with a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quote. And he said, "It is appalling that the most segregated hour of Christian America is 11 o'clock on Sunday morning." And he said that in 1963. So I wanted to be like, well, is it still like that to that extent? Because, you know, like segregation was still around. Maybe not to that extent, but it had just gotten over with because of him, basically. So I looked up more stats like after Jim Crow, after Brown versus Board of Education, all this other stuff. Like, did that impact churches still being segregated? And It says now only between 5% to 7.5% of churches in the United States are considered to be racially diverse.
7%.
Yeah, 7.5 is the highest percentage of churches that are considered to be racially diverse. A designation meaning that at least 20% of a church's members don't belong to the predominant racial group there. So even in 2020, churches are still 90% segregated.
There's so many churches out there. It's not even funny.
Right.
I've seen Asian, Japanese, Mexican, all black churches, all white churches, Hindu. Like I've seen any kind of religion to where a group of people goes that are the same race. I've seen it, and in the state now, this is a red state, and you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of different, Hispanic churches or stuff like that. But churches are everywhere in Oklahoma.
Think in red states it might be worse because everything is still segregated by race, So like I said before, 90% of African American Christians worship in all black churches, and 90% of white American Christians worship in all white churches. The biggest problem is that we don't see this as a problem.
There's a lot of people that don't think it's a problem.
No, and it's like that kind of goes into, well, stick with your own, right?
But if it's okay, if the people that go to these churches don't feel that it's a problem, is it a problem?
It's only a problem to people that are trying to find a church and like are diverse,
Right. So
like, for example, like I've mentioned this to family members, and every time I mention this, I'm like, well, like my family doesn't really fit in at this particular church because we are diverse, and they always go, oh, well, there's like three or four families there.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, out of 500 people,
there's three black families, which is
4 black people there.
Yeah, which consists of groups of no more than 3 or 4 people.
Right. So I'm like, that isn't diversity.
No. But that just shows the ignorance of people when they go, well, there's the Johnsons go there. The Johnsons and the Smiths, they go there too.
Right.
I'm like, Mom or Dad, you said 2 people. You said 2 families out of 55 families that go there. You said 2. Right. Can you keep counting, please? Make me feel a bit more comfortable. Right. Well, no. Then
right. And that's all I'm saying is it's not considered diverse, so not everyone feels welcomed or wanted or comfortable.
Well, it's easy. It's also easy to let slide things happen, like giving somebody the elevator eyes or staring people down. That stuff is subtle aggressions where people can catch up. Like I would see stuff like that. Mm-hmm. She didn't see it for a long time until after the 2016 deal, whenever they had that sermon. But I've been telling her, hey, these people don't like me here.
Well, and I think that when you aren't in a diverse church, you kind of open yourself up to sermons like that being able to be taught because you don't think you're going to offend the majority of your congregation.
Because the majority of your congregation probably thinks that way.
Right.
But don't in churches like that, don't deacons say, hey, man, you got to preach what we tell you to preach.
Oh, I don't.
Aren't preachers like really basically employees to the church?
Oh, yeah. Like if you're a minister, you are employed by the church. If you're an elder, if you're a deacon, you're not necessarily paid if you are a deacon. I know that's factual. If you're an elder, I don't believe you're paid, but if you're a minister, you're paid by the church.
That's weird. The deacons almost run the place, but then they don't get paid.
They do have the meetings and make the decisions. Actually, it's the elders that run the church. But yeah. So basically, I wanted to switch gears from basically church being racist to what does Jesus say about racism? You know,
what does he say?
What does Jesus say? What does the New Testament say? What does the Old Testament say about racism? Like, is it cool? Are we supposed to be segregated?
Right. I mean, I've had those thoughts more than once in my life.
Right.
Are we supposed to be all with each other, just with each other, or what?
Like, yeah. So, again, I did a little research. And before I get into like, what did Jesus say? I want to get into something I saw on Facebook about a year or two ago. It might have been in 2016, 2017. But one of my friends on Facebook make a post about building the wall, but then followed it with Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Right.
And to me, I was like, how can you be celebrating a Mexican holiday while being like, no, keep all the Mexicans out of my country? You know?
Now, Mexican food is good. Okay.
Mexican music is good.
Mexican movies, music. But here's the deal. A lot of problems with racist people is, in my view, is they want your culture, but they don't want you.
Which is weird. You can't have one without the other.
They love the Mexican food. They love the beers and stuff like that, and the eating and all that things.
Parties.
But they don't want Mexicans. How do you think the food got here? You probably need to leave the Mexicans alone.
Right. And if you enjoy their culture and want to learn about their culture, you probably need to get to know a Mexican, a real one.
Get a Mexican friend.
But what that always reminds me of when people say build the wall is, what if like when Jesus and Mary and Joseph were fleeing Herod, who was trying to kill Jesus as a baby? What if Egypt was like, oh no, we don't like let your kind in here. Y'all are criminals and rapists and drug dealers. And I'm sure there's some good people in your group.
Awesome.
But most of y'all are bad. And I don't want to take that risk. So no, y'all can't come in here. And you know, like Jesus and Mary and Joseph weren't the only people fleeing because Herod was trying to kill all the babies, you know? Yeah. So, like, to me, it's like, why do you think it's okay to do that to people that are fleeing persecution? You know?
I don't know why they think that's okay.
Right. So, that was like my little tidbit before we actually get into like, what does the Bible actually say about racism? And I did want to post a verse about what the Bible does say about how we should treat foreigners and aliens and people that are illegal. So in Deuteronomy 10:19, the Bible says, so show love for the alien, for you were aliens in the land of Egypt. So it goes back to that story I was telling, like where Jesus and Mary and Joseph were having to flee Herod, and they had to go to Egypt to flee him. But that also ties into when the Jews and the Hebrews were in Egypt as Egypt's slaves. You know, so they were aliens in that land, and look how they got treated in that instance. And is that something we really want here?
Right. You just want to keep repeating history.
Right.
Over and over.
Right. So, the next verse I have is Galatians 3:28 through 29. And it says, so there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free man, there is neither male nor female. You are all one in Christ Jesus. And if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's descendants, heirs according to the promise. to me, that's a big verse because it's saying it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what your background is. You're all Abraham's descendants. You're all heirs, right? Like,
you come from Jesus.
That's in Galatians. So that's actually Paul. But, like what I'm saying is we focus on such like minuscule things like skin color and ethnicity to the point that we totally ignore what God is actually saying. Like he doesn't care. He wants us all to come to him. We're all one to him.
You think in this country it's ingrained in people? The older you get, the more that you learn about different races.
Like otherisms.
Like it's otherisms. It's also the media, the depiction of certain people. If you turn on the news, they're calling people that are Muslims terrorists every other day. I don't know why I'm cussing so much.
You just do it.
They call Muslims and terrorists and stuff like that, and the Arabs terrorists. Sikhs look like Muslims. They're a totally different religion.
Well, Barack Obama, just because his middle name was Hussein, they called him a Muslim.
He was a Muslim. He's a Muslim terrorist.
Arab. Like,
I'm like, oh man.
No.
But this is stuff that's pushed in the media. This stuff that's pushed in the news, movies, television shows. Blacks are nothing but drug dealers, drug addicts, baby daddy gang members. We're not ever put up as too many intelligent, fathers and mothers, hardworking dads and stuff like that, grandfathers.
Like we were talking about the other day, you don't really see single dads. You see a lot of single moms.
Yeah.
But in the Black community, like the highlight isn't on single dads.
No.
Even though they exist, because I met one.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, that was like, that really hit home to me. Like, it doesn't matter to God what you look like, where you're from, anything, like what your background is, whether you were a slave or whether you're free or whether you're white or whether you're Black or Jew or Greek or whatever, you're all one to him.
Yep.
So people that push this like, oh, well, we wouldn't be from different places if God wanted us all to be together. The Bible doesn't say that anywhere.
What kind of logic is that?
I've heard it before. Haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one I have is Acts 17:26. And it says he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth. So we all descended from the first human, correct? Like that's scientific as well. Like we all descended from one person. So if we all descended from one person, we all started out as one color. And then as people migrated and moved around, the colors separated.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this taught to me in church one time, like, this is possible for us to get all this like wide array of colors and features from two people, right? So if two people start out, let's say the color of my biracial children, they have the potential to create all the colors in the world.
Mm-hmm. So let's just get this out there. Adam and Eve was not white people.
No, Adam and Eve weren't white. Jesus wasn't white.
So that's just
like they are from the Middle East.
So if you're a Christian, a white person right now that believe that, please take a deep breath.
And just study, like do some history research. Like where was Jesus born? Where was he from? What did people look like in that area?
After this, can I have ice cream sundae?
Sure. Okay. The next one I have. Anyways, the next one I have is Acts 10:34-35. And I really like this verse, but I really like Acts 10 and 11 because this is like an instance where Jesus makes Peter go into the house of a Greek or Gentile. And
Y'all hear our kid out there?
Nana and Papa just dropped off Malcolm. And now Eden is freaking out for some reason.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Real life, guys, real life. The teenagers are watching that.
I don't like when my baby be crying like that. I don't like it.
Real life. So Acts 10 and 11 talks about where Jesus makes Simon Peter, go into this situation where he is completely uncomfortable because Peter is racist or was racist before this instance. And he's like, Gentiles and Greeks like aren't welcome, basically. You know, like they're not Jews. They don't get the inheritance. Only Jews get the inheritance. And Jesus is like, no, I need you to go talk to them.
I wonder if he had a country twang. We don't like him.
No, because he look where he's from. We just had that discussion. But anyway.
You don't mean they can't talk like cowboys?
No. I doubt it.
I'm just checking. That'd be
they
pretty
might
funny.
have dialects like we do.
That'd be funny.
Anyway, so Acts 10, 34 through 35. Opening his mouth, Peter said, I most certainly understand now that God is not one to show partiality, but in every nation, the man who fears him and does what is right is welcome to him. So again, like Peter had one of these like aha moments, you know, like I didn't like these people, but
they're no different than me.
But God, Jesus himself,
he looks exactly the same, yeah.
told me to go talk to these people, so I guess I'm supposed to talk to these people.
You mean Jesus? You want me to go talk to them darkies? You want me to talk to them? No, why, Jesus?
Right.
They're darkies.
Or lighties in that situation. Yeah. Who knows?
He's like, if you don't get your ass over that, man.
Because Greeks were lighter skinned, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next thing I have is in Revelation, and this is like, if you've never read the Bible, Revelation and Ezekiel, I believe, are the two books that are written in like prophetic speak. Prophetic language, like they're talking about the future, what's going to happen in the future, visions of the future, stuff like that. So Revelation is believed to be written by Jesus's brother John. I want to say I think I'm right on that. So
don't get me lying.
So he's having this vision of what heaven will be like. Right? So in Revelation 7:9, he said, after these things I looked, and behold, a great multitude, which no one could count, from every nation, all tribes and peoples and tongues, were standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, and palm branches were in their hands. So like that's a vision of heaven, right? Or the day of judgment, whatever you want to call it. But it's a day of like everybody was there, guys. Like we weren't segregated. All the languages, all the colors, all the ethnicities. Like, can y'all imagine that? Like, you know, to me that's pretty powerful because we don't see that.
Absolutely.
In America, in our churches, we see, I guess what you'd call our tribes. Like,
right. People
we're
are
very segregated based on what we look like, what we sound like, where we live, where we're from, you know? So to me, I'm just like, wow, to me, that's a very powerful visual.
What's strange to me about people is we can all have the same Bible, but whatever your perception is of the Bible is how you use it for your own narration.
Right.
That's agenda. Weird. That's your own agenda. That's weird to me because you could be ahead of the Klan,
which the Klan does use the Bible.
And they use the Bible and try to plug verses out and try to twist them into making like that they're doing the right thing. They're doing God's work.
Which the one verse I've looked up, and I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but the one verse I've looked up where the Klan uses, it's like another tribe or country, invading another country and saying you can't marry with those people and da 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 da. And it's just like, you realize that's like the one story, to where it's like, what?
Well, I do give them credit for the dedication to finding that one story.
So also in Romans 2:11, this kind of has been said, but I'm just bringing it home, is, for there is no partiality with God. So he's not partial to one people over another people, right?
Right.
Like, that's something that a lot of Christians believe, like only the Israelites are God's people. So, like, there's a lot of verses that I've just read that say that just simply isn't the truth, right?
Well, kill my son.
He's being very annoying right now. So, and like I said back in the Galatians verse, like, if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's descendants, heirs according to the promise, right? So that would basically say, like, no one's more special than anybody else.
I feel special.
I mean, we're all chosen, so we're all special.
I'm not the only one chosen.
You're not the only one.
Dang.
But I mean, that kind of went into a verse that I was going to take out. But it is Psalms 139:14. It says, I will give thanks to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So that's talking about everybody.
You are wonderfully made.
That's talking about everybody, not just me and my husband or anybody. This is a Christian episode. So he threw me off, guys. So yeah, I think that was just like my main point. Like, I don't understand why churches are still segregated when schools aren't still segregated, the world isn't still segregated. Like, just church.
I wonder what would happen. Say the church we were speaking on earlier. If about 25 black folks just come from an all black church and walk in and they're unannounced, just walk in and go to service. Mm-hmm. What do you think would happen?
I don't know. Like, I think they would be
accepted. They'd probably be welcome, but then they'd be like, where you guys come from?
Right. I don't know. That would be a social experiment.
But like, no, we come to church. It doesn't matter where we come from. Right.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be like combative. But no, I mean, I don't know.
That'd be a fun video to make.
Yeah. But
like, hey y'all, we're going.
But COVID.
Church A. I mean, when this is all over, we should get Church A to go to Church B.
Well, I think that they also would need to be of this same belief system. Like, it would have to be like a Baptist black church going to a Baptist white church, so that they wouldn't disagree on Bible. It would be purely like a racial experiment.
Yeah. That stuff confuses me.
Right.
That's another subject.
Well, again, there's not supposed to be that either.
Because if you got Baptist and you got Church of Christ and you got Christian and you got a pit. No. Like, if you got all these different churches, I don't understand the difference between all of them. Right. And I know that if they are preaching about God in every one of these churches, what makes them different?
Their like interpretation of the Bible is what makes them different. But guys, guess what? When we all get to heaven, it's not segregated between the Baptist and the Church of Christ and the Catholics. And
is one church better than the other church? Don't be biased here. You want to say yes.
I think that it all has to do with studying.
This is a different subject, y'all.
Right.
We've argued about this. This is me and her. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is something that me and her has not agreed on since we've been together. And we've been together 10 years.
We've gone toe to toe a few times.
Our biggest fight was over religion.
Right. But
and something to eat.
Right. That's what we fight over. But I think, like, of course, everyone goes to the particular church they go to because they think that church is right. Like, you don't go to a Baptist church and go, oh, well, I think the Church of Christ people have it right, but I'm going to go to this Baptist church. You know what I mean?
Why not try to teach the ways?
Because they disagree on fundamental issues.
All right, let's talk about this on a different episode. This is one of the ones y'all don't want us to go down that road until this time.
I do want to apologize for all the interruptions in this episode with babies crying and babies knocking on the door.
I don't think they care, honey.
And dogs barking, but that's
just
what
know
happens.
We don't get no privacy around here, man.
Right. See? So,
you know how many times kids will see my booty cheeks?
If that even happens.
I'm just playing.
That's a real question I need to ask the world is how do you
sneak it in?
When you got kids?
Please help us, everyone.
No, seriously.
Stop touching me on the camera.
Anyway, sorry. This is real life, guys. This is live. This is our children being our children. This is us being us. Like, I don't have any makeup on.
We got 4 kids, man.
We do.
I look crackish. I ain't had a haircut in 3 weeks.
I promise my kids look better than I look.
You just look, man. Look at this. Look.
Right. Yeah.
It's all off. My neck hurt. If you can look under my chin, you really can't, but it's all patchy on here.
Anyways, I want to apologize for all the interruptions.
I don't apologize for that.
I do. Cause
she gets mad.
I get mad.
Like, I know what's going to happen.
Especially with my 5-year-old because he knows that we're doing something and he's like, can I come in?
He swear to God.
He just like busts in, lets the dog bust in. Oh, it's craziness.
Do we know what our next subject is going to be?
No.
Is it going to be more religion?
It can be.
How can we sneak in private time?
Like parenting?
No. That's not parenting. That's us time.
Relationship.
Me and you. Dinner, the movie.
I don't know. I mean, we do. Okay. This is off subject, guys, but like we do have our teenagers watch the kids every now and then so we can sneak out, but it's like for an hour and we can't stay home or we won't get any alone time. So it's not helpful, like, in that regard, it's not helpful.
This is a whole nother subject.
Yes.
Let's
maybe that'll be next week. Who knows?
All you guys gotta do is go to YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. If you don't want that little dingy bell that hits you every time we have a video, which is probably once or twice a week, just hit the bell. But just go ahead and share it to your friends. Let them know what's going on in discussions that we have.
Yeah, please invite your friends.
You guys come on in and talk about it. If you got something to say, we said something to make you mad today about white or black churches. I don't care.
I care because I want to have a discussion about it. Like, I want to know, like I said, like, people don't see it as a problem because they don't really, either they don't really realize it's happening or they're just like,
Like the end of, the end when Martin Luther King was around, there was black churches in, there's white churches in.
But that's why he said what he said.
And yes, what I'm saying. So, and it's 2020. And it's still the same. This is something we're just going to be able to talk about and get off our chest. And I'm not sure it's going to change ever.
It probably won't, but we tried. All right. We're going to get off here so I can yell at my kid. Hey!
Get a black friend.